Well, it doesn't look like I got a lot done today, but I got a lot done today. I threaded a lot of pipe, courtesy of my Harbor Freight pipe threading tool. This is an electric tool. It was well worth the investment. It goes from 1.25 inches down to 1/2 inch. It comes with 4 dies and some gizmos. That's all I'll really say about it, except it works. Word on the street is if you wear out the dies made by Ridgid, the teeth will fit into these holders, which makes it a tremendous value. The other thing is the cuts are only as good as the quality of your cutting oil. It's huge, super, super huge. You got to have good cutting oil. So anyway, Harbor Freight electric pipe threader. I'm a wimp. I use an electric pipe threader. Borrowed pipe stand from good neighbor Kent. Threaded up a bunch of 1 inch and 1/2 inch rigid conduit. So it's all going to be fitted to the boxes. That's great. Took a lot of measurements and measured it again because part of it goes underground, part of it has to come above ground. And if you cut it too short, it's too short. So I was real careful with that. The other thing I did was I did pick up a different weatherproof box for the circuit breakers because the free box really wasn't that free. It was making me crazy. So I got a new box for that. That's great. I think I told you I'm using a generator and I'm using an actual umbilical cord for the generator with a plug, and then the receiving end of it, which is buried. I'll put that together today. That mates into this weatherproof enclosure that faces down, so I can I don't want to leave this cord out in the winter. I want to be able to recover it all, take it inside. That cord, although those are 30 amp plugs, that's going to get labeled for 20 amps only because I'm using 12 gauge in it just to keep the cord a little bit easier to handle. Then last but not least, I hand fitted the tank fittings. Outlet here where I have a pressure gauge and a Schrader valve so I can add air, a gate valve so I can adjust the flow rate going into the orchard. More coming there. Very exciting stuff. Stay tuned. On the inlet side, you currently see the barb connector that will pick up flex hose. Expands up to, it goes from 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches. That's an 1.5 inch check valve. On the check valve, currently I have just a pressure switch. In addition to the pressure switch, in this hole here will go a snifter valve. Now the point of where the gate valve checks is right where my hand was, right here. Okay, so when the pump turns off, this stays at pressure, but this really drops to nothing. And if I have this valve open, it will allow air into the line, and it will help me to add air if the tank gets waterlogged without having to lug a compressor out. It will just push the air that goes into the line, and I hear a big glub glub, and it will add air to the tank. So this is old school. Did a lot of reading. If you know me, I kind of like some old school stuff. It works. Also, you see I have the weather-tight fitting on the pressure switch. I put a plastic cap on the one side. The other end of that, pressure tight or vapor tight, call it what you will come up to the circuit breaker box so that when there's power available, if the switch calls for it, it'll come into here and it will go out through a piece of Ridgid down to the pump, and then at the pump end it'll convert to 4-wire control box on the surface. There's the control box, and then down, down, down into the well to get the pump pumping. Now, the other thing is my neighbor was kind enough to lend me tools, and you could probably see a glint of that. I got a new cutting wheel for his pipe cutter because his was very tired, and it was an easy thing to do and seemed like the right thing to do. So if you borrow tools from people, make sure you give them back quickly in as good, if not in better condition. That's just like a rule. So, that's my mess. I got to use the magnet to pick up all the shavings from when I was cutting pipe. Then after that, I'm going to take a shower and have dinner. Take care, all. Toodles.